In the previous video, we set up the canvas so that it could display the UI for the game. In this video, we'll actually add the UI elements themselves. The health panel will be located at the top left of the screen. To do this, we'll open the anchor panel and set its anchor and position. I'll do this by holding down the Alt and Shift key at the same time and click on the top left-hand corner. This will position the box in the corner here. Next, I'll set the position of this. I want this to be 20 pixels inset from the top and 20 from the left. I can change this by changing the pos X and pos Y values here. Or I could go to the Rect tool and drag it myself, like so. I like to have more control, so I like to set the values directly. So 20 on X and negative 19, because we're moving down the screen. Negative means down, so negative 20. I'll also set the width and the height to 280 wide and 120 high. This will give us enough space for both the icon as well as a number readout showing the total amount of health that the player has. Let's now add the icon. This will be a child object of the health panel. We'll go Game Object, Create Empty Child. I'll anchor it at the left-hand side, filling the total height. So that's this icon here at the lower left. Holding down the Option and Shift key, Alt on PC. By clicking on that, it's now filling up the entire height of its parent and aligned to the left. Next, I'll add an image component. Image components display an image on the UI. Without a sprite attached, the image component shows a full white background. Let's add a sprite. We'll go to our sprites folder. In order to begin using our sprites as sprites in the UI, we have to change their texture type to sprite. We'll do this by selecting all of these and changing their texture type from texture to sprite. Notice how it suggests therefore 2D games and the UI. We'll click Apply, and now they're usable as sprites. In fact, if you click on the little arrow next to the icon, you can see that it contains not just the texture, but also a sprite as well. Let's go to our image, and we'll drag the health icon into the source image slot. You can see that the image is somewhat stretched, and if I zoom in closer, it becomes a little more apparent. This is because by default, images are stretched to fill their entire bounds. To prevent this, we'll change the Preserve Aspect setting to On by clicking Preserve Aspect. It's now no longer stretched. Next, we'll add a text label which will show the full readout of the number of hit points the player has. I'll make a new child object of the health panel by choosing Game Object, Create Empty Child. I'll name this one Label, and while I'm here, I'll also change the label of the icon to Icon. Just to make things clearer. Here's our label. I'll change the anchors to fill the height aligned to the right-hand side by clicking on this icon here in the anchor panel and holding down the Shift key and the Option key, Alt on Mac. Let's also make more room. I'm going to drag this boundary to the left a bit. This will make it fill up the entire panel. Next, I'll add a text component. Text components draw text onto the UI. I'll click Add Component, type text, and I can now begin configuring it. When building a UI that involves text, it's always useful to show some dummy text that's representative of how things should look. Because even though we haven't yet built the health system, it'll be useful to see how health will appear. I'll just type 999, which is the highest number that we could possibly conceive being shown here. Notice that it's at the top left and quite small. That's not really the best. I'll change its size from 14 to 80. That's much larger and much better. Next, I'll change the alignment to middle center by changing it to be centered. Now it's centered in the middle of the boundary. And also middle. Now it's no longer top aligned. Having built our health panel, we can now build our ammo panel. This will look identical, only the icon and the label will have their positions swapped. We can do this quite quickly by taking our health panel and pressing Command D or Control D on a PC to duplicate it. I'll rename this Ammo Panel and change its anchor to be positioned at the right-hand side. I'll zoom out so you can see where it's going. Holding down the Option and Shift key, Alt on PC, I'll click on that, and now the Ammo Panel has been positioned in the top right-hand corner. We'll adjust the position by moving it left by setting pos X to -20, and down a bit by setting pos Y to -20. Now, inside the Ammo Panel, I'll move the icon to the right-hand side by changing its anchors from left aligned to right aligned, and the label will change from right aligned to left aligned. Finally, we'll update the icon by using the ammo sprite. We'll choose the icon object, and we'll drag the ammo sprite into the source image slot. Let's now see how it looks in game. We'll click the play button, and we can see our UI displayed exactly as we like it.